Okay, let's talk some books. So, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole. For those of you who are newer, which is quite a few of you, so thank you for joining my channel. And a special thank you to those of you who have been with me since the beginning or very close to the beginning of my channel. Thank you all for watching. So, today I'm just going to go over what I've been reading in the last week or so, and I'll just jump right into it. So, I have not DNF'd anything this week. Which is good. I feel like January started really rough with that, and it's been okay since. I also, however, did not finish anything this week. So for the month of March, I'm participating in March of the Mammoths. So pretty much every book I'm reading, with the exception of one, is over 800 pages long. So I'm pretty sure that the beginning of this month is going to be very low on books finished, and the end of this month is going to be like, and then I finished everything. Because it's just going to take a while to get through them. And I'm totally fine with that. So, the first book I'm going to discuss is a book that I am currently reading, and that is Arabian Nights, Tales of 1001 Nights, Volume 1. This is translated by Malcolm Lyons, and I am really enjoying this edition of the book. I am so glad that last week I made the decision to slow down my reading of it and to just basically read it while I drink my coffee every morning. I'm at the point where I realize that that's about 10 pages every single time, and so now I'm just reading basically 10 pages every morning. One of the things that I enjoyed this week was it just really started to stand out to me, like the different and unique sayings that are in this book that I've never heard before. For example, one of the characters at one point was talking about how he didn't really want to get into somebody else's business. And he made this comparison. He said, "The lion's neck is only thick because it looks after all its own affairs." And I just thought that was a great, like, just statement and saying to have. And I don't know that I'll ever use it, but I enjoyed hearing it. Another thing that I could say about this wonderful book is that if you are somebody who likes embedded narratives where there's a story inside a story, this may be the book for you. It is not uncommon to go like four narratives deep within here, and it's done brilliantly. And I would say another trope that is used in this book, if you like, is cliffhangers. I think we would all sort of expect that if you know enough about this book, which is Shahrazad is being held by this king, the sultan, who is known for killing his wives after the first night. And she's trying to stay alive by telling him stories and basically leaving him on a cliffhanger. And I've got to admit, because I'm also only reading basically one story every morning and then ending there are definitely times where I'm like, wait, no, no, like what's happening next? So it's even tempting for me to want to read the next night. All that to say, I'm really enjoying this book, and I'm just going to keep reading and see how it all just comes along. So another book that I'm reading right now is The Waters by Bonnie Jo Campbell, and I actually keep forgetting to mention this book. I think it's honestly just because I don't have a physical copy of it. I'm listening to an audiobook. This is a book I am listening to for my family book club, and I don't even know that I could really tell you what this book is about. In theory, this book is about a family that is largely just the women in the family, and they all live together on this island in the swamps of Michigan. Very weird and interesting setup. And it's a very weird and interesting kind of book. The protagonist is mainly this one daughter named Donkey. She is, I think, 11 years old. And it's just sort of following her experience of living with her family members and just sort of the different conflicts that they have with one another. So there's a little bit of family drama, but then they're also kind of the outsiders of their community. They literally live on this island that you have to cross a bridge to get over. And they can pull the bridge up so that other people, particularly men, can't come onto the island because they've all had a variety of different negative experiences with men in their life. And I don't know how you feel about the book so far. It's okay. It's not bad. There's a lot of weird things happening in the book. I wouldn't say it's magical realism. It's just a bit surreal seeming, and the townspeople are also kind of interesting, as are all the women in the family. It's just an odd little book. I'm not disliking it. I'm just kind of like, what is really happening here and why? So that's The Waters. I am still reading Forever Amber by Kathleen Winsor, and Amber's gotten a little bit better for me. I mentioned last week that I was okay with every part of this book except for Amber, because I also felt like Amber was like supposed to be naive, kind of like Donkey in the other book, but was really just coming off as an idiot because she would just do the same thing over and over again. Well, I'm about 200 pages away from the end of the book, and in some ways, it's gotten a little bit better for Amber. Like, has she learned from her mistakes? No, not really. But she has changed as a character. She's become more cynical, I would say, rather than naive. And like if you're looking for a morally gray character, she's not morally gray. Like she's just she's just not a good person. The author seems to be choosing to just have Amber be the type of character who just wants to do whatever she wants to do. And so that's kind of what's happening. I will say though, because Amber is kind of like this vapid character who really doesn't care about anyone or anything other than herself, she's very selfish and obsessed with the guy that she's in love with. And it's just making it hard for me to connect with her and be like, yeah, I'm rooting for Amber. Because a lot of times I feel like, no, not really. Like, why should I or would I? Or, yeah, no, I'm not. I'm just going to finish Forever Amber off and just be done with it and move on. It's not a bad book, but I'm definitely at the point where the plot is carrying me through this book because Amber really is not. Okay, moving on to a book that I am enjoying. The Picture of Dorian Gray. So I am reading this for the Dorian Gray read-along that I am co-hosting with a couple of other YouTubers, and I am really enjoying this book. In fact, other than the Arabian Nights, this is probably the only other book that I'm reading this month so far that I've actually really enjoyed. It is nothing like what I expected, and I'll get into that more when I do my final review of the book. But I think there's one character in here that I'm just loving to hate and hate that I love, but I just can't help myself. And ironically, it's not Dorian. But it's gotten really good really suddenly, and now like I'm even more invested than I was before. There will be links in the description if you would like to join us. It's not too long, it's about 229 pages, so you still have time to join us in this read along if you're interested. And last but not least, that means after this weekend, I will be starting reading Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I'm going to try reading the entire book in its physical edition. And I'm going to start it on Monday. That will give me basically 2 full weeks to read this book, which I feel like is pretty realistic. It's about 800 some odd pages in the edition I have. I do remember that it took quite a while to read each page because it's kind of a slow paced book. And yeah, the syntax is actually closer to Victorian period syntax, so it can be very wordy to read. But let me know what you are currently reading and if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned and what your thoughts are. And yeah, that's it. I will talk to you next time. Bye.